We have another lady. We want to discuss about what's going on around in Fort McMurray, heart of oil sand, my home, Fort McMurray. What's your name?
Danielle Dianas, and I'm the president of QP 2559, representing approximately 580 members of the Catholic School Division. We're here today, as a rally of protest during our strike. Our members are willing to come out in these frigid temperatures to prove a point. Our schools have been drastically underfunded for years. I've been with the district for 22 years now, and I've noticed that, we used to work one EA to one student, and now in some situations it's one EA to 6-7 students. So the funding is not there, and it's putting our children in danger. And right now, because of our strike, the parents who have special needs children have to keep their children at home, and that's a human rights violation. Every child is entitled to an education, but in Danielle Smith's book, that means only your mainstream so-called normal children. Totally unfair. The UCP just announced that they are giving themselves a 14% cost of living increase, so they acknowledge that inflation is hurting them, but yet they're offering us, the 2.75%. We haven't had a raise in 10 years. We don't hear anything from our local, representatives, Brian Jean and Tanny Al. All we hear from them is crickets. They're not here to support us. They've betrayed us. And I've been here long enough to know that this area has always been UCP Blue or Wild Rose, but I've never heard from so many members who have been constantly, apathetic when it comes to elections, not voting, or if they vote UCP or Wild Rose. And I've never heard so many say that the next election that is going to change. So you know what? My tax dollars pay for your salary. You're working for me, and next election, you're fired.
Yeah. When you're talking about, well done. So when you're talking about your MLAs, Tanny Yao and Brian Jean, we live in Fort McMurray, home of oil and sand, and people think like they are the one who's taking care of oil sand and they are a big supporter of oil sand. What about you guys?
We're the ones that make, the kids have to go to schools. We help the schools run. Without us, the schools don't run properly. Parents who work out at site need their kids to be in school. We noticed during COVID how it impacted a lot of the employees. And right now it's impacting a lot of them as well, but they don't care. They say they have all this surplus, and right after, our strike began, Danielle Smith had the audacity to go on TV and say they had, all this surplus and they were building all these schools, some of them private and charter schools. And yet you're building all these buildings, but if there's nobody to run them, they're going to be a beautiful building, but they're going to be empty. And so it's hypocritical of them to do that. We don't hear anything as well. Like, we don't see publicly our board, trustees, and that be out there on the picket line with us to support us and openly ask for funding. They don't do that. They stay behind closed doors and they hire security guards because, these people who work with children or work in the schools and treat those children kindly all the time, now all of a sudden they're going to be turned into dangerous people.
So the reason behind your superintendent or your the management people, they are not here because all the hiring is done by the UCP government, by the politicized they are doing. And when you're talking about the new private buildings, so private buildings, people are saying like these are the buildings will owned by the investors of Danielle Smith or Tanny Yao or Brian Jean. What do you think about that?
I think it's horrific. She's doing the same thing with healthcare, trying to dismantle Alberta Health Services to privatize more and more so that those are the most wealthiest in the province are the ones that will be able to afford better care, quicker care, and the heck with everybody else. But like I said, people are getting angry, people are frustrated, and you know what? Like I say, people normally don't speak out, but they've had enough. It's been 10 years for us, and people ask me, well, why didn't you guys fight harder before? Because we didn't have the membership behind us. Like they weren't as angry, but these last 4 years, where we've been without a contract has angered so many of them that they come out of the woodworks, and I think it's really hypocritical.
One lady, she was telling me that when it times to vote, these MLAs, they think we are stupid. We will vote for our habit. We will say we will vote for conservative because they are helping us on oil and sand, and they don't care. That's why they don't pay attention on your issues.
Yeah.
So will you vote again because of the party, or will you vote for the right person who will representative constituency, who will represent your people? What do you think about that?
So I don't have a qualm about saying that I vote NDP all the time. And our members were always free to vote for who they wanted to.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of them didn't realize how bad it was going to be. And now they're seeing it. It's kind of like a version of what's happening down south in the US. People are having buyer's remorse.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will be doing the same here. Same as the trustees, for example. One good thing about this strike is that it has put a microscope on what is happening within our schools. When members found out how much our school board trustees make for meetings that they can't even have in person, they do virtually. They make what an average custodian makes for 2 weeks of work. They make that for like a couple hours meeting. Yes, they go to other meetings and that, but they're all compensated for that. And so that has opened up the eyes, and so many people now in the community who don't work for the school boards are going to be running for those seats next October. People are going to care. Nobody's going to get in by acclamation next time, I can tell you that.
What about your superintendent, Natalia? Where is she?
Good question. Where is she? Where is she? If she cares so much about the members, why is she not on the picket line for us fighting for those funding? Members are so angry. They think that the Don't I Matter comment, they may think that it's gone away. It has not. It has not. And people are always going to remember that. So I think that it's left a bad taste in the mouth. And unfortunately, we're going to lose members because of this, because they can't afford to work for the school boards anymore. So they're already having a hard enough time finding employees. It's going to be even harder now.
So they are doing purposely, so they dismantle your education, health system to the privatize.
Yep.
So she can make happy her investors.
Exactly.
That's what's going on.
My taxpayers' dollars, when I pay my taxes, I don't want it to go to private companies. I want it to go to public services, because public services overall have always been better for the average working person.
You talk about COVID times.
Yep.
That's why I have a question. So COVID time, when we are not allowed to meet our elders, to meet our loved ones in the hospitals, Tanny Yao went for Mexico, and he was a parliamentary secretary for rural health. What do you think about that? Why people vote for him again?
Because they don't really understand. And I can personally attest to what it was like during COVID.
Yeah.
My husband passed away almost 3 years ago. He was in the hospital for months here. He was on dialysis with his home machine. I was going into that hospital twice a day to bring the dialysis solution so that they could turn around and help out the nurses, because they were scrambling. And Tanny Yao was in Mexico. Well, you know what? He should go to Mexico and stay there and retire and not come back.
Now I will tell you one more thing. I am the one who defeated Mr. Tanny Yao in nomination election, and I was disqualified by changing the rules. So in April 18, 2023, UCP changed the rules, and what they did, like Daniel Smith have a power to choose or appoint 87 candidates out all over the Alberta.
Yeah.
So do you think Tanny Yao is still your MLA?
Oh, he's not mine. I don't consider him. I consider him a lapdog for the UCP.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.